All right, so this guy's been parked next to me for a couple days. We're in Rockaway Beach, Oregon, and we're about to go tell his story. It's a good story, I think. All right, so here we go.
I've got fishing pole, rod locker, and extra miscellaneous stuff.
Tell us about that life real quick.
What's that?
The fishing poles, what are they for?
So
what were you?
I was a bass fishing guide for 10 years. Last year I caught 2,400 fish.
Wow.
My biggest largemouth, 9 pounds. My biggest smallmouth, 6.5. My biggest crappie, 3 pounds. My best trout day is 2 8-pound trout in one day. Week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I went to O'Lalley Lake in Washington. It's east of Salem, up in the Cascades. I caught 66 trout in one day. 1/3 of those fish were over 12 to 14 inches.
Nice. What was that lake called?
O'Lalley Lake.
O'Lalley.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you have to right now they just opened from Detroit Reservoir, so that road's open now from what I hear.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so I've got solar, so I've got my solar controls here, and then I got my heater. The heater comes down. I have the heater underneath on the floor, and then I have a separation where I have tools on top of that. So, I've full storage across the whole thing.
Yeah. And your poles go lengthwise, right?
Yeah. In the cabin all the way over the bed, because some of these don't break down.
Right.
And so, yeah, I've got 8 fishing poles in there. Fly rods, stout, really for big bass rods, and crappie, trout, all kinds of fishing poles.
And in your travels, what are you looking to do?
I'm looking for adventure. I'm living my best life, and so whatever I want to do. Last year I caught 2,400 fish, so I love to fish, and so I'm able to stay someplace for extended time as long as the fishing is good. And so I do whatever I need to do. It's freedom. It really is freedom.
Yeah. Your next adventure, you said you might be leaving tonight. Where are you going?
Yeah, so I've got to go back into town to pick up some Amazon packages and some mail, and then I'll be traveling within the week or so to hit 4 or 5 different national parks. Olympic National Park, Glacier National Park, Yellowstone National Park, Teton. I want to hit Wind River, which is a really cool area, a lot of cool lakes. There's a lot of places. I have a database that I worked on for 3 years for spots of interest and camping, that if you go to Google Earth and you look at an area, you can zoom in and you can see trailers, and you switch the year. If the trailer's gone and there's another trailer in the same area, that is a BLM area, and you can check it with other apps if that's BLM. But I've checked them, they all are. And so I found my own spots that may or may not be on all these websites to tell you where to go. And so when I go to a lake, and I want to see a lake, I'll change the year, because the lake will be up and down. So for bass fishing, it'll show me structure, creek channels, all kinds of things. So by doing a little bit of work before you go there, you can catch fish by looking at Google Earth.
And what made you want to do a YouTube channel with fish?
Well, I was a fishing guide for 10 years, and I worked very hard to become the best I could be, and I learned some things that could be very helpful for people. I'll give you a basic thing. If you got a lake and it's got a lot of lily pads, those fish will be in the lily pads during the day, but early in the morning, at night, they'll move out of the pads onto ambush points like rock points or anything where they can conceal themselves, where bait fish will move by, and they're just right there, and they'll dart out behind a rock and be able to eat. So it's easy food. They don't have to chase the prey down.
You just gotta know what they're doing.
So if you fish structure close to lily pads early in the morning, it's going to be loaded with quite a few fish.
Right.
And then in the day, they'll move out with boat traffic and sun. They'll move back into the pads.
And do you know how to find them when they're moving out?
Sure. Okay, so if you've never been to a lake before, I have some lures. And if you contact me on my channel, X Bass Guide, EXBASSGUIDE, X Bass Guide. And I will tell you what lures I use that are the most productive lures. Now, they don't catch the biggest fish, but if you want to find out what the fish are doing at the lake quickly, you're going to get 10 times the bites with any of their bait. And so you're going to get a lot of information. Then you pick up bigger baits and you figure out where the bigger fish are. But you can get 10 bites in the first hour easy, and you'll know positioning, what they're doing, what side of the wind, whatever, positioning, what color they like. You can find all this out very fast, and then you can move to the high quality baits. Spinnerbaits catch big fish, jigs catch big fish, and you can target big fish, but now you'll know where the concentrations of fish are. And it's a numbers game. The more fish you catch, the better odds you find in a big one.
Here's the big question I've always wanted to ask a fisherman. Do you feel it or do you think it?
You feel the bite?
No. Where to find them? Do you feel it or do you think it?
It's knowledge.
Knowledge. That's what I
It's
meant.
history. It's knowing the seasonal patterns, knowing the weather conditions. If you fished a lake long enough, you're going to know, well, every year I do good in this bay on the northwest corner, or this middle of June when the females are now back in good shape and they want to feed, and that's a pattern a lot of people know. Middle of May is a great time to go fishing for bass because the females are on the feed and you can catch a bunch of big fish.
Okay. Asked and answered.